Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to Geeks Watch. Today, we're talking about the film Tombstone, which you will see here. Tombstone is Tombstone. You know, it is the story. Piece of plastic stuck here. I'll fix it later. It's a story of Wyatt Earp and the gunfight at the OK Corral, or at least one version, one telling of it. Most people know a bit about the story. This film is also very popular, so it centers around, or starts with, Wyatt Earp retiring from being a lawman, settling down in a town with him and his brothers, taking a stake in a saloon, trying to live peacefully and avoiding trouble. There are a group of bandits that call themselves the Cowboys, showing exemplified by they all wear a red sash around their waist, who, you know, basically consider themselves a law unto themselves. They do what they want, kill who they want, take what they want. And when they eventually wind up killing a local sheriff, Wyatt Earp's brother gets involved, which pulls Wyatt Earp into it. And, you know, the story goes from there. I'm not, you know, there are some mild spoilers here. I'm not going to run the plot of the whole film wrong. Most people know what it is anyway. Some background information. The original director was fired after about a month of filming. He wasn't getting the shots done on time. Kurt Russell has come out and said that he directed the whole film, but didn't want his name in the credits. Val Kilmer has come out and said that while Kurt Russell was instrumental in getting the film made and heavily influenced the direction of the film, he was not the actual director. As far as the performances go, Kurt Russell is really good in this film, but the role isn't really a stretch for him. It's a type of character he's played before, or similar to characters he's played before. You know, it's a Western version of Snake Plissken, a bit more honorable than Snake Plissken, I suppose. But you know, there's a bit of a bombast, a bit of, you know, the old Western styles here. Sam Elliott, again, not a real stretch for him acting either. And I could listen to him read, you know, legal jargon. The man has such a sexy voice. I love just listening to him talk. I love Sam Elliott. I'll watch pretty much anything he's in. Val Kilmer is the standout performance in this film, though. And most people tend to agree that this is probably one of his best performances and that he steals every scene that he is in. You know, Val Kilmer practiced a lot for his role. He practiced his Southern dialogue, his Southern dialect. He practiced quick drawing his pistol. He put a lot of work in this character. There was also a lot of they tried hard to make the costumes authentic. You know, and you know, the set design as authentic as possible to the era. There is some disputes to the historical accuracy of this film. You know, some of the events, it's based on real events, but it's a fictionalized version of real events. Let's call it that. The film did get some mixed reviews. It has, I hate quoting Rotten Tomatoes, but it has like a 74% of Rotten Tomatoes. But like the year it was released, it was one of the top 20 grossing films for the year. It's considered one of the top 25 Westerns of all time. There are some critical reviews of it, which I find myself agreeing with. I find the first half of the film is actually very entertaining. But once it gets down to the latter half of the film, where it's, you know, Wyatt Earp and his gang hunting down the cowboys to get rid of them, to me it lost a lot of its appeal. There are still some excellent individual scenes, mostly with Val Kilmer. There was one scene with Val Kilmer that I remember, and it's not the one you're thinking about either, in the latter half of the film. You know, the gang is like out on the trail as a posse hunting down the Cowboys gang, and obviously Doc is in poor health. And one of the guys like, Doc, what are you doing out here? You should be in bed rest. You should be in a hospital. Why are you out here hunting these guys down? And he says, Wyatt Earp is my friend. And the guy's like, hell, I've got a lot of friends. And Doc Holliday responds, I don't. And I thought that was a really powerful line to come from that character. You know, here's a man who's basically, you know, dying of tuberculosis, who is going to bat for his one real friend, one of his best friends. And like I said, it's not that it wasn't. I know which one you were thinking about. I know which scene you were thinking about. It wasn't that one. It was the gunfight between him and Ringo, which a lot of people take as the scenes between Doc Holliday and Ringo are some of the better ones in the film. Yeah, like I said, the third act of the film is pretty, in my opinion, is kind of weak. With a few stellar moments, it's not as solid as the first 2/3 of the film, Act 1 and Act 2. Having said that, and I'm not usually a fan of Westerns. I have a few that I like. This is one of my favorite Western films, and like I said, I don't have many. This is one of the few Western films I've watched in my adult life. Most of the ones I'm fond of are from my childhood and watching with my father, who did love all the spaghetti westerns. Huge fan of Clint Eastwood. My father was. Still is. He's still around. Anywho, that's my take on the film. I'd give it an A- if I had to grade it. You know, a solid piece with some flaws. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.